Welcome back to the Diorama Hangar. This is Mike, and I'm coming at you with another video about vintage Star Wars figures. And this is kind of including some newer stuff, which is turning out to be vintage now. But I have long felt that if they didn't make it back in vintage, then it fits on my vintage shelf if they make it today, and it can stand side by side. So here we go with the purchase of the droids. And I want to talk a little bit about each one, what they're called, and mostly going to be talking about the newer stuff that wasn't part of vintage. So I tried to set this up in order as it was set up by the Jawas back in the day. I think I got it right. Now I don't have an Uncle Owen out of the package. I've got one of those purchased the droids from the 90s. I don't have an out of the loose one, which are not that expensive. I don't know why I haven't picked one up, but I will eventually for this scene. Now this first droid here, it's got little wheels on it. This one is called the 2X7 KPR servant droid, or just the security droid, and kind of looks like the ones you see on the Death Star, except the ones on the Death Star have a box covering it, so maybe this is missing its box, who knows. But it's been an iconic little one that's been in the movie. And so this one here, the next one, I actually, is what kind of got me wanting to finish these, is I play Star Wars Battlefront 2 with the kids, and I keep seeing this show up in Star Wars Battlefront 2, and I think it's a pretty cool droid. Move it back just a little bit, and it's called the R1G4, and it's pretty iconic. I mean, if you know this is from Star Wars, and they did a pretty good job with it. Got retractable. It's almost like Danger, Danger, Will Robinson, with those retractable arms there. But it's a pretty cool toy. Of course, it's just going to stand there in a display. And when I collect, I mean, that's really all I need. So this other one, I think it's called the WED Treadwell, and so this one, and that one we're going to show you all came packed in with Jawas in like 2009 or something like that. And I passed on it all, even though I thought it was a good idea, because I figured I'd catch them on clearance or something and not pay full price, and I was kind of being cheap back then, and I really only cared about vintage. And so I'm getting to thinking, it's kind of hard to put together a complete scene with just vintage figures, and that's just a fact. So anyway, this is a pretty cool droid. It's got little arms that do things, and one of the things that's always cool about Star Wars and collecting Star Wars is even in the vintage line, you get background characters, and this is the epitome of getting background characters, I would say, and Hasbro made this. Now, all these seem to have little parts and assembly pieces. Like, you have to assemble this, like add these parts on, and this clips onto this, and the way it was packaged, you definitely have to put it together. So there's some assembly required. Now, I don't have to explain to you C-3PO, R2-D2, or R5-D4. Those are in the vintage line. But I will talk to you next about this little droid here. Now, this comes, you have to assemble it too, which I thought was weird. And this one is called the Lin droid, L-I-N droid. And it's kind of cool, very iconic. I mean, its size fits pretty well to a Jawa, as it does in the show and the movie. So I thought that was pretty good that they had that. And then I do want to talk about, you have to assemble that one too. I do want to talk about these droids here. These are called the WD-15 droids, and they're pretty cool too. They the Treadwell, it's also a Treadwell droid. This is a Treadwell, this is a Treadwell, I guess. Hope I got it all right, but I don't know if these come pre-assembled or not. But they were also packed in. I don't know exactly what they were packed in. I don't know, and they're different. I got two different colors, so I picked stuff up, and I just like, hey, that's cool. That was in the movie. I remember it, but I don't have it, and so I pick it up, and so that's kind of how I ended up with most of this stuff, and bought a lot of this and a lot here. So what else will help this scene? Well, getting an Uncle Owen, and then I want to talk about all these other kinds of what you got here. Some Jawas. Now, there's a bunch of different kinds of Jawas. There's the one that that these were packed with. They were packed with these guys. And then there's the Jawas that were the 90s. They had these Jawas here as a 2-pack. So I guess one Jawa, you know, it's not worth it. Let's not give it a cloth cape either, or a vinyl cape. Let's just mold it as like this. And it's got the light piping. You can see the eyes in the 90s. Now, they did away with the light piping of the eyes, which I kind of like now. So, and these guys are pretty cool looking. So anyway, with these Jawas, I really wasn't picking them up, and I kind of now picking them up now. I think they look cool. And of course, they're not going to make it in my vintage display because I like the vintage better, but just because I'm a vintage collector. The last thing I want to talk about is the Sandcrawler itself, and I really think that should be the next HasLab. I'm going to end this video on that note, and I'm really kind of hoping HasLab makes a Sandcrawler and then at the same time reissues these figures or puts these figures in a set or whatever. I've already got them, but it would be great to those getting the Sandcrawler. I think Sandcrawler should be the next project. If you disagree with me and you think it's a Death Star or whatever, all kinds of other blockade runner, there's a lot of things that haven't really been made yet. But Death Star's already been made. This has been made and it's severely undersized. Severely. Anyway, Titanium Hanger. Out.